Patriot TV welcomes you to How to Read Music with your host, Brittany Stone.
Hello, I'm Brittany Stone, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to read music. I've been singing probably since I was 2, so I've kind of grown up around it my entire life. My dad sings. He was in the church choir when I was little. My brother sings. He's just not very great. And my mom sings as well, and she is a piano teacher. She also teaches music at Trinity Episcopal in Longview, Texas. So, like I've said, I've been around it all my life. I used to take lessons from her when I was little, so I kind of gotten used to it. So I'm just going to be teaching y'all today how to read the treble clef. We're going to just kind of talk about the difference between the bass and the treble clef. I have this little clipboard that I'll be using to kind of show y'all how to do it. This is the treble clef, and this is the bass. The difference between these is the top one is usually for the sopranos and altos. So like if you're in a choir, usually the top 2 voices sing it, and then the guys usually sing the bottom, which is called the bass clef. So that's like the basses and the tenors. And sometimes if you're a guy and you can sing really high, you're going to kind of go up to the treble clef too. But don't get these confused, the bass clef and the other one, or you'll be in treble. So we're also going to talk about the difference between pitch and position. I have a chart right here that kind of shows the difference. And the difference between pitch is just the relative highness or lowness of the note, and the position is just where the note is. And as you can see, there are 7 notes, and it goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And then it starts all over. So if you're playing a piano, you start with C, and then you just keep on going. There's no H. What it does is just goes up by 8 octaves, starts with C, ends with C, and that'll just go up the entire time, just repetitive. So there are 7 notes. What's kind of cool about this is that every single song you hear is made up of only 7 notes, which is kind of cool to think about. There is a thing called a sharp and a flat, which varies the note, but basically it's 7 basic notes and it makes it the same. The symbols, like I was talking about, for a sharp and a flat, as a sharp kind of looks like a number sign, and what that does is it varies the pitch. It just makes it kind of upwards a little bit. And what a flat does, it kind of decreases the pitch, just makes it a little more minor sounding. There's also a natural sign, so if you do have a flat or a sharp before it, in the measure after, you have to make sure to put the natural sign so people remember to go back to that note. Music is written on 5 lines and 4 spaces, which is called a staff, which is what I just showed y'all. So today, like I said, I am going to be teaching y'all the treble clef alone. So there's plenty of ways to remember this. There's 5 lines, like I said, and the way I remember it is every good bird does fly, and that's 5 lines. So the first line is every, the second line is good, the third line is bird does fly. There's other ways to remember it. My mom teaches it every good boy deserves fudge, and my dad teaches it even George Bush drives fast. For the spaces, it's face. It just spells out F-A-C-E, and that's F-A-C-E. So that's kind of a cool way to remember it. I remember it, every good bird does fly, and then face is kind of the typical way. There's things called harmony, which is just contrasting pitches, and so that was like when you play chords on the piano, it's like a C, E, and a G, and so these 3 notes make up a chord. But we've kind of basically gone over everything for the first little section. Hopefully y'all can remember this for next. We're going to come back and play a little game to remember it. So like I said, it is every good bird does fly, or even George Bush drives fast, and F-A-C-E. So stick around. We're going to play a little game, and we'll be back after this commercial.
Don't you wish there were an easier way? Well, now there is! Introducing Dynamic Diapers. The diaper that combines rash cream and baby powder in one to cause less stress and no more mess. So this turns into this.
I always hated how messy my hands got when changing my baby's diaper. But now, with Dynamic Diapers, there's no more mess.
Call today and get a month's supply of Dynamic Diapers for only $19.99.
Welcome back. I'm Brittany Stone, and I'm teaching y'all how to read music in the treble clef, hopefully y'all can kind of remember what I taught you before the break. We talked about pitch, we talked about just the relative positions of the notes, and we talked about that there are only 7 notes that make up every single song. I kind of want to cover time signatures and the type of notes. We're going to start down here with the quarter note, which is somewhere down here. A quarter note gets 1 beat, a half note gets 2 beats, and then a whole note gets 4. So you can kind of think of it as 2 half notes make up a whole note, and vice versa. A whole note makes up 4 beats in all. There's also 8th notes, 16th notes, 32nd notes. It just kind of goes on forever. So if I were to say this is a quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4. 8th note would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 16th note would be just double the time. So it kind of just goes up as you're playing or singing, whatever you're doing. Above this we have a thing called a time signature, and what that does is it just kind of tells you how fast or how slow you're going to go. So the most common time signature was probably 4/4, which means the top number always means there's 4 beats in a measure, and then the bottom number, as it says, means the quarter note gets 1 beat. So those are kind of important. It gets harder. There's harder time signatures, but you kind of get used to it. Like 6/8, kind of that gets distracting, but that's just always after the treble clef, and there's a time signature. Dynamics are very important as well, and dynamics just means how relatively loud or soft you are. And so some of these start with piano, which is P, and that means soft, and that just means play or sing very softly. There's 2 Ps, which is pianissimo, which means very, very softly, like you can barely hear it. There's also mezzo piano, which I call it medium piano, and it's just kind of slightly soft. I don't really know what word this is saying, but there's forte, and that's just done by an F, and that means loud. I didn't write this, but there's a double F, which means fortissimo, which means play or sing very, very loudly. There's forte piano, which means start loud and then go soft. And then there's a thing called a sforzando, which is written on there, which is SFZ, and all that. That's a sudden accent, and then you back off. That's used a lot in choral arrangements with other choir. Another thing that is in a lot of music is the crescendo and the diminuendo, or the decrescendo. The crescendo kind of looks like a caret. It's like a less than sign that's just going up, or greater than, it doesn't really matter. And what that just means is gradually get louder, don't make it sudden. And then the diminuendo just means get a lot softer. So hopefully you kind of are refreshed on what I taught y'all earlier with the treble clef. And what we're going to do is I'm going to call a guest with me, and I'm going to put some notes on here and have Julia tell me what they spell out. So this is my good friend Julia. And so we're going to start with something simple. Hopefully you're paying attention. And I want you to tell me what this spells out.
Bag.
Close. Think opposite of mother.
Dad.
Right. Dad. Of course, you know, you can mess up every once in a while if you want to, but it's D-A-D. Very good, Julia. We're going to do a little harder one. We're going to see if you get this.
Face.
No. Guess again.
Bead.
Bead. That's right. As you can see, it's B-E-A-D. Very good, Julia. Thank you so much for your help. So as you can see, it's kind of cool. If you would like to teach your kids these, you can kind of play games along with them and teach them small words like bag, like Julia's first guess. You can teach them face, other words, fad, and kind of just get your kids started early. I teach piano, so I use those kind of methods to go along with them. But hopefully you can remember everything I've taught you today. We covered time signatures, dynamics, the treble clef in general, and be here next time when I teach you how to mix slime and read music.